Exactly 1 year ago, we picked up the Oculus Rift and virtual reality became a huge part of our lives.
Today we wanted to take some time to talk about 10 things that we have learned over the past year about virtual reality.
Let's do it. Number one, know your hardware. So before we get fully into this, I want to actually talk about my first experience with virtual reality, which was on an HTC Vive in a Microsoft store. You know, beyond anything that had to do with a phone, where that was the only hardware I experienced before then, was shoving that into a piece of cardboard, shoving it on my face and actually doing anything. You've tried those, right?
No, the only thing, remember as a kid, we had those little things that had the slides. That was probably my first experience with virtual reality.
So anyway, I go to a Microsoft store after destroying my phone, different story. And while I'm waiting for my phone to get repaired, I go into the Microsoft store. They've got a display. So I'm like, heck, I got time to kill. Let's go check it out. I go in there, pop on the HTC Vive, and they put me through just the kind of one of the starter demos and everything that just kind of flashes through a few things. But the moment that really just totally got me was when I experienced Space Pirate Trainer for the first time. I was blown away of the way that I felt entirely immersed and moving around, dodging, and I'm sweating and I'm just right there in the center of the mall, just hanging out. That was my first fully immersive experience into virtual reality. And then, of course, beyond that, it was a couple of years before we picked up this and got into it. And that was your first experience, wasn't it?
Yes. Watching Beat Saber YouTube videos got me like, ooh, yay! I want to try that. That was the game that I wanted to try when we picked up this headset, mostly because I love Star Wars and Guitar Hero. This is basically like Guitar Hero with two lightsabers.
Best of both worlds.
It was just awesome.
We jumped into PCVR, so PC, virtual reality. This, of course, needs to go to a PC. With this, we needed to make sure that we had a powerful enough computer. And this is something that I thought about for a long time. I wanted to buy a computer and then make sure I had the graphics card so I can get into virtual reality when it was ready. I went about this kind of an unorthodox way. I ended up picking up an Intel Skull Canyon. It's one of their Nooks. It's a gaming PC without the power graphics card. Still a pretty good processor, but this was right when eGPUs were starting to take off and being able to play with external graphics cards. And this is where I picked up the Akidio Node. We'll pop a video on the screen here in a bit. I wanted to get the biggest, most badass graphics card I possibly could at that time that was within my budget, and we ended up picking up a NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti. Put that in there, plugged it in, and the power was amazing. I was surprised how well it worked, and pretty much I was only playing Destiny 2 at the time.
And it's still today one of the best graphics cards.
Yep, still definitely it's working. It does exactly what we need to. So we did that, plugged in the Rift S, and started our first experience in virtual reality. And of course, dove headfirst straight for Beat Saber. We have clocked, I would say, at least over 1,000 hours in that game alone. Part of this was just making sure that we knew the hardware that we needed to be able to get into it. And we tried a lot of things this past year.
In the past few months, actually, obviously you've seen my Mac video. I upgraded to the Mac Mini, the i7, and I had an external graphics card connected to it. And it worked. It worked beautifully for Beat Saber. But then this tiny little thing happened with Boot Camp where it bricked my first one. And I was devastated. So Apple sent me a new replacement. Within the exact same time frame, 1 month and 2 days of the first one and the second one, they both bricked. And I said, Apple, I want a refund. And they were very happy to give me that refund. So now I got a CyberPower pre-built from Best Buy, and it was actually a really good deal for it. You get the Intel Core i9-9900K, which is an 8-core processor with 16 threads.
Right, right.
The MSI 2080 RTX Super.
Right. We're not going to get into too much detail on the video editing and streaming in this video, but the one thing that I wanted to note is that's where we were really struggling with the Skull Canyon. That i7 was not able to keep up with recording or streaming very well while pushing out virtual reality.
City.
Totally. We struggled through it, but it still worked for the most part. So this is why we moved over to the CyberPower. The other side of the hardware is the Oculus Quest. About 6 months in to having the Rift, we noticed Oculus and Facebook is not really putting much, if any, development into this. Every new feature and every bells and whistles was tied into the Quest. And I wanted to be able to experience that and see exactly what that was. The ability for hand tracking. If I knew this was going to have the ability to link to my PC, I probably would have gone with this ahead of time for my primary device. Now, there is a lot of great reasons why I still enjoy the Rift S, but the Quest is nice as well, just from an experience as far as the portability, being able to travel. And we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but you can see we Franken Quest. Yep, totally, because comfort is a huge issue for me, at least on the regular strap. And I know I was wearing it right.
For you, either I kept getting pressure here, or I kept getting pressure here, or I kept getting pressure. That's why
you always came out with the best VR face, though, too.
I know, yeah. That's why I liked the Rift S. I was really happy that was the first thing we went with.
Totally lightweight, comfortable. Love the Halo strap. It's just it's just so much more balanced, and it just works.
Number 2 is my biggest thing right now is overcoming VR sickness. Beat Saber does not make me VR sick, but I recently was trying to explore VR chat and I got extremely nauseous. And one of the first things that actually helped was the PPD.
Yep, the pupillary distance. The headset, for the most part, has been set to my PPD, and we didn't actually adjust it for her. And so that explains why I've had no problem, but instantly, the moment that she starts moving, she gets as nauseous as if she's been riding waves on a boat.
So far, I've adjusted the PPD, and it's going great. I do still have a little bit of problems. There was a game that we just played, Hyper Dash, where you have to get on the rails. Mm-hmm. I think the whole quick thing is getting me, but it's just trying to get through all of that.
Right, and you still seem to do really good on anything that has to do with even a lot of the fast-paced moving around, but it seemed like anything that's rails or roller coasters. Anything
no roller coasters. This is why I say no roller coasters, guys.
Anything that is a flowing motion seemed to be a bit of a struggle. So we'll work on that. I still totally believe that VR sickness is something that you can overcome. That's why I believe comfort is such a huge priority. Number 3, VR can be physically demanding. Beat Saber, I consider as a sport. It can get intense. I completely get lost in the world. And even though my accuracy has a tendency sometimes to suffer, the performance is exactly what I totally enjoy.
Beat Saber for me reminds me of back in the days of high school where I was in color guard and I was dancing. The swinging of the sabers and being able to hit that point and everything, it's all about accuracy and performance. So yes, it definitely is a sport, and it will definitely take it out on you if you're not careful.
Totally, and there's great sides to that. You've got boxing, one of the best golf games on the Quest, dodging bullets, evading enemies, whatever you're doing, you're constantly moving, and it's very active. It's not sitting on the couch with a controller, and it's not just mouse and keyboard. There's a lot of movement that's going on, which raises my next point that sports injuries suck. I'm bringing Beat Saber as a sport here because I totally screwed up my shoulder. It took about 2 weeks of complete timeout, pause, slow down, and let it heal up before I could actually get back to it. Lots of stretching. And it was very important to know my limits and know how far I can push it. And just because there is an Expert Plus doesn't mean I should be doing Expert Plus. Play safe, stretch, and remember to hydrate. It's very easy to get lost in VR, but hydration, just keep the water by you.
Number 4 is hygiene. When you share a headset, sweat is an issue. We've tried the silicone covers and they're not all created equal, but they work great. Part of the problem though is the foam in the back. If you have a friend that's extra sweaty or somebody that you know that's extra sweaty, if they don't wear a hat or something and you go in and you put it on and it's like, ugh.
Pro tip, that's why I wear a baseball cap when I'm playing Beat Saber quite a bit. It doesn't stop everything, but it helps a little bit there.
Yeah. You want to make sure that you clean it properly,
right.
Sanitize it, especially the silicone covers.
What we do occasionally is we'll take off the entire faceplate, wash it, let it dry thoroughly. It would be nice if the halo padding was removable or more easily removable. Yeah, what I would love to see is something that's, if not a silicone cover, something that's set, like clicks in with like a magnet, and then you can like pull out super easy and then be able to wash properly. I would even buy 2-3 sets of that, and then that way you can switch them out between sessions. In addition to the silicone face covers that we've used, we got those little paper masks that go over and then around your ears. And right, they're okay. I mean,
they helped.
Right, but you know, sometimes they'll just like squinch down and they'll end up getting in your eyesight anyway, and you're spending more time fidgeting. So, you know, hygiene and comfort is definitely an area that really can use some improvement, and you know, that's what I'm hoping for, some advancement, at least in this area.
2.
Number 5, community is everything. This doesn't necessarily just go for virtual reality. It can go for any game or any experience, but specifically what I'm talking about is the community that is built and driven around Beat Saber. I absolutely love it because Beat Saber in its vanilla form it's a good game, but it's not mind-blowing.
If it wasn't for the mappers, if it wasn't for the modders, if it wasn't for players on YouTube like showing all of these different things and educating, you know, newbies at the time like us, we probably would have been like, okay, this is it, Beat Saber, all right, bye, you're boring. But because of the custom maps and the custom sabers and stuff like that, it's made it so much fun, especially now with the light shows that everybody's doing. Like
with the mapping extensions?
Yeah, with the gas.
Oh my gosh, gas is so good. Definitely a huge thanks to the mappers that spend the time in there. I tried learning how to map, and that is freaking hard. It really is. It takes work to get going, and I'm sure that after you get going and after you get started, you can get into a routine and, like, you know, build some of these great maps. But man, it's some work putting those together. So another thing I want to do a shout out for is Eleanor and creating Beat List, the very fantastic and functional Beat Saber playlist tool. The ability to create playlists and manage playlists and manage your songs as well. It's so much easier to be able to do that outside of the game. I really appreciate that. I did create a video on this earlier on how to create a playlist. We'll link to that up here so you can check that out as well.
I actually watched that video and it helped me. So now I don't have to ask you for help anymore.
Totally.
Number 6. Longer sessions require comfortable gear. Part of the reason why this particular one reflects to the Quest, because when you picked up the Quest, I was like, oh cool, this is gonna be so awesome. I get to, like, you know, play Beat Saber wherever I want to play it. the moment that I put this sucker on, I was like, ew, it doesn't feel like the comfy Rift S.
No.
And I kept getting really bad pressure headaches, and then it would like squish my nose, and I was like, come on, guys, there's got to be a better way.
Right.
And then the FrankenQuest happened, and I was like, yay. So I'm playing with it a little bit more. But
Definitely.
You definitely want to be aware of knowing your limits. It does affect you. You don't want to be doing this long, a couple of hours and have all of this like uncomfortableness, because VR neck, it sucks.
Yeah.
Where it's worse than the whole computer, the gaming.
Right. It's funny because the Rift S is super comfortable to me now, but it took a while for me to even get used to that. You got to remember, you're wearing a brick on your face, and there's weight built to that. And there's even more weight when you're looking at the Quest, especially being very front heavy. We have gone through every guide possible of making sure that we're wearing it correctly. And we did that before making the decision to go with the FrankenQuest, getting the HTC Vive deluxe audio strap and putting it on here. We have noticed improvement on this. We will do a video on the FrankenQuest later. We'll dive much deeper into that one as well. Number 7 is VR safety. Cables are a death trap. They totally are. I have tripped over that cable more times than I can tell. And there's a couple of different setups. You can just, if it's on the floor, I'll trip on the cable, or I'll stand on the cable. There's a great clip of Audie on our Five Nights at Freddy's video.
I stepped on it, but...
You step on it, your head just goes...
I just stepped on my cord.
Back like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, if you have Rapunzel hair.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
And then you can also string the cable up. There's these wonderful hooks that you can line them and pull the cable up and get it up off the floor and out of the way. And it works really well until you get into Beat Saber 360. And if you're not paying attention, then that might as well be a noose. And that cable just wraps right around your neck. So,
or if they pop off the wall.
Pop off the wall?
And hit you.
Yeah, that's not good either.
No.
Beyond cables, knowing your surroundings is huge. Being able to have, what did you call it? VR sense?
Yeah, it's like your sixth sense.
Mm-hmm. We're using a dedicated room for virtual reality for our green screen right now, but no matter where we're at, and even in that room, we hit the walls all the time. And we've used a couple of different methods on being able to know where the floors are. We put a raised bump in the floor that we can stand on that kind of helps us know where we're at. There are VR mats that are pretty cool. Circle rugs. Yeah, there's VR mats that have like special bumps in it that help you kind of know exactly where you're standing.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll look into those.
That's cool.
Yeah. The other part of safety is not for the person that is in virtual reality. It's for everyone else that is outside of virtual reality. It became this game. We were living in a tiny apartment when we first picked up VR. It was a game to see if we could squeeze by the other person without getting hit with the controller.
Or even messing them up. It was It was like trying to be ninja and just like, okay. And then it was so funny because we got so good at it and we would have a conversation, and then all of a sudden you would hear, oh yeah, they're on the sofa, and then all of a sudden they're right behind you, and you're like, dang, you're getting good at that. But also too, the other thing was the controllers being flown.
Oh my gosh, this girl loves to throw controllers.
I didn't mean to. It's my hands, they'll get sweaty, during an intense Beat Saber moment. And that one time I was in it, and then it just went halfway across the house.
Right. And before y'all say anything, I know that that's exactly what the straps are for, but
the straps, I feel like the straps makes it worse for me sometimes, because they like chafe.
My thing is, it's just it's the extra step to put them on, and they don't hold on very well. That's just unfortunately the not so great design of the touch controllers, but something that I really want to experience with something like the index controllers, that the knuckle controllers, which is right on your hands themselves. The strap holds them straight to your hand, and then that way it's kind of in place. I'm ready to experience that.
Also, too, like I hold them, my Velociraptor T-Rex grip.
Oh yeah, your different grip.
Yeah, I hold them at a different way. So, and they lock into my knuckles. But if they're sweaty, sometimes they just go.
Number 8, VR is not just for playing games. There is so much that can be done in virtual reality, and I know that we're still fairly early on a lot of these. I wanted to use the example of Google Maps because it's something that is really exciting to be able to jump in and explore street view and being able to just fly around the world. I was able to talk my 80-year-old grandpa to trying this headset on and let him experience it. We went on a tour around the world. We flew around to Japan and the Grand Canyon. He was telling stories about where he's been, experiences that he's had. And we even flew over to my brother's house that I haven't been to yet. And he was able to say, oh yeah, that's their room. That's the living room right there. And then that's the kids' room. And it was really cool because we were having a conversation as if we were standing right there in the street. There is so much that can be done beyond just virtual reality. Other forms of entertainment, there's the ability to watch movies, there's big screen and Netflix, and the Amazon Prime app is actually pretty good. I normally don't watch Amazon Prime, but I binged, that Upload Show? I watched pretty much the whole thing in VR just because I wanted to experience it.
Oh, also, don't forget, when I walked in on you yesterday, you were at your computer desk, but you didn't have a monitor. You were using the headset.
Okay, so
he's getting into this stuff, guys.
My ideal future here is no longer needing a TV screen, no longer needing a monitor or anything. The ability to throw up a virtual screen and work off of it. The other day, to keep a little bit of peripheral vision, I ripped off the visor, still had my glasses on, and then I was looking focused at what looked to be a 10-foot screen on the wall. But I was editing videos in virtual reality. Yes, it's not fully optimized yet, but eventually I see that it could be a functioning platform. The reason why I pulled the visor out was because I wanted to be able to see my hands and be able to have a little bit of visibility to the keyboard. There is, with the Rift, the ability to do pass-through, which kind of gives me an idea of my keyboard. But once I have functionality of a keyboard and my mouse and the screen up, then I'm fully functional and I'm ready to go. I did 90% of the video editing in VR. The last 10% was just that final polish that I did on the computer afterwards.
Number 9, leveling up. Can virtual reality teach you things that you might not know how to do or improve your skills? And I think it does, because I learned how to defuse a bomb.
Totally. And where would you have ever gotten that experience otherwise?
Without the consequences.
Right.
I didn't blow up. Y'all blew
You absolutely did not blow up. The first thing that comes to my mind is VR golf. Can I learn how to improve my golf game in real life by learning in virtual reality?
Well, yes. But I need the ability to be able to go Happy Gilmore when I want to go Happy Gilmore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my only issue with this golf game so far. But it's pretty cool. Y'all should check it out.
Another example is archery. It's a huge part of virtual reality. There's Hollow Point, which I haven't tried yet, but there is playing in Skyrim. That was my favorite weapon, was using the bow and arrow. And most recently, I've been obsessed with In Death, where the entire game is based around that being your only weapon. I know virtually nothing about archery in real life. These are things that I want to test. It's more of maybe not something that I've learned, but maybe something that I want to discover and dig in a little bit deeper. Can I learn actually how to shoot a bow and arrow in real life, but improve my skills in virtual reality?
Oh, they also have a bartending one.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Totally.
We should totally get our friend who's a bartender to test it
Oh,
out.
yeah, we
and
gotta put that
see if
in.
it's accurate.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I'll learn how to bartend.
Right. There's even a DJ app, how to learn how to DJ. Number 10.
Hey.
What? Did you have something else?
Number 10, VR is fun.
It totally is.
So much fun. I am so happy that we got into this. I was a little sketchy at first, but now that we are 1 year in this, I mean, there's times where he has to say, "Hey, Audie, can you get out of VR and spend time with us?" And I'm like, yeah. Can you transform into this avatar? Just
Nice.
kidding. But it's so much fun.
It really is. It definitely is. And there are a lot of things that we do together. That's why this channel is Bo and Audie. That's why, we are exploring this and digging in so much more, is because it's not just a solo experience. There's so much that is tied where you can be a part of the community. And speaking of community, I wanted to say a big thanks to our 50 subscribers. It's huge to have you to be a part of this. We really appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button and stick with us throughout this journey. There's still a lot that we're going to learn and a lot that we're going to explore.
And we want to share it with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Hit that like button if you guys like today's video, and we'll throw in a couple of extra videos for you guys to check out that'll just kind of help continue your journey so you can see what else is going on. And we'll catch you all in the next one.